Philadelphia, where Damian Rhodes and the Leafs were in, winless in their last 3 and taking on the Flyers. And they try to take it to Philly early. Dmitry Yushkevich, the ex-Flyer, nails Brent Fedek along the boards. However, midway through the first period, Rod Brindamore gets a nice bounce from behind the net, sending the puck out front. Off it goes off Kenny Johnson's skate and in. 1-0 Flyers. Leafs answer, though, on the power play. How many times do you see this combination? Doug Gilmore, Dave Andrechuk, a quick release, and scores. 8th goal on the season. Game tied at 1. Then late in the period, watch this Mike Craig from a bad angle, just throws it toward the net, and somehow that beats Garth Snow. Bad goal. Toronto has the lead, though, 2-1 in the third. The Flyers, with so much firepower, they come out hard. Eric Desjardins from the point. This is going to be tipped just slightly by Brent Fedek on the way, but just enough to hit the far post and go in. Game tied at 2. Then with about a minute remaining in the third, watch this bad clearing pass by Benoit Hogue. Throws it up the middle. Even a Pee-wee hockey to tell you not to do that. Lindros intercepts, fakes the shot, drops for Renberg, and boy, did he wire that under the crossbar over the shoulder of Damian Rhodes. That's the game winner. Make it 3-2 for the Flyers and make the Flyers first overall in the NHL, a point ahead of division rival Florida. Flyers center Joel Otto left that game in the second period after getting hit in the head. Didn't return. No word on the severity, but the Flyers first overall with a big win at home over the Leafs. Let us see how his team does in Toronto. Alexander Daig, another non-factor night for him. Ottawa's Dennis Vial taking the man here, taking Darby Hendrickson up and over. Mike Craig, though, grabs the loose puck on that play and using Pitlick as a screen, zips one past Beaupre, 1-0 Toronto. Still in the first, Todd Warner will have his shot stopped. Rebound bounces high in the air, and Benoit Hogue bats it out of the air and in. 2-0 Leafs after 1. Hendrickson really getting hammered around in this game. This time it's Dan Quinn who nails him. Hello, could I speak with Patrick Waugh, please? Well, okay, maybe not. Cliff Fletcher not interested in Patrick Waugh? Maybe not. Doug Gilmore rumored to be out of the lineup for this one with the flu, but he was in there and in the middle of things, and from behind the net, he slides it out front and off somebody skating in. 10th of the year. Matches last year's total for Gilmore, 3-0 Toronto. The Sens desperately trying to rally. Daniel Alfredson from behind the net centers to Quinn. He beats Rhodes, 3-1 Toronto, but the Leafs not denied. Matt Sundin hustles after it. It goes to Warner. And the give and go results in another goal, 4-1 for the Maple Leafs, and the final score here is 4-1. Damian Rhodes, 39 saves in this game. Gilmore's goal, as we mentioned, his 10th. He had 10 last year in that 44-game season. Benoit Hogue, couple of points now, 26 in 26 games. Second in Maple Leaf scoring and really contributing in a big way. Themselves, and Cliff Fletcher on hand for this one to see his team. But the play is sloppy early. Dmitry Yushkevich with a brutal giveaway right here. Peter Sikora then banks it in off the skate of Todd Gill. 1-0 for New Jersey early. Second period, though, the Leafs come back. It'll be Randy Wood, the hard-working winger, down the left side, cranks it up and blows it past Martin Brodeur right there through the 5-hole, 1-all. And then Benoit Hogue, same thing, down the left side, lets it go, beats Brodeur. Leafs lead at 2-1. Third period, Leafs trying to play kitty bar the door, but the Devils do get one great chance. Mike Peluso to Scott Pellerin, high in the slot, rips it, but look at that glove save by the Cats. Felix Potvin. And so this fan, this New Jersey fan, goes home disappointed as the Leafs, the visitors, win by a score of 2-1. Benoit Hogue has scored the winning goal in each of Toronto's last 5 victories, and the Devils fall below 500 for the first time this season. All right, it's up Doug Gilmore to Dave Andrechuk, and he will find Matt Sundin bursting in on the left side. Bad angle. Looks as if Ranford's got it covered, but not upstairs. As Sundin with the backhander upstairs. 999 points for Gilmore on the career. He gets the assist there. Leafs up 2-0. 2 minutes later, Darby Hendrickson to Randy Wood. Fakes the shot. Back to Hendrickson. Upstairs it goes. Leafs up 3-0. Nice play there. On to the third period. Leafs up 5-1. Doug Gilmore going for 1,000 points. He is stopped. Mike Craig hammers in the rebound. If that counts, Gilmore's got 1,000 points, and the boys come off the bench to celebrate. But you know what? This guy spoiled the celebration. The video replay judge, Al Doss, said the net was off the mooring. No goal. Killer shakes his head, but Burns sends him out there for about the last 5 minutes of the game, and Gilmore sends Matt Sundin in late in the game. He scores. There's the assist. There is the 1,000th point for Doug Gilmore in the career. Only 45 players have ever done it in NHL history, and there's his wife Amy celebrating along with the fans in Toronto as the Leafs win it 6-1 over Edmonton. Toronto head coach Pat Burns also reaching a milestone there, earning his 300th career coaching victory. And Pat Burns and his club doing a better job on the road, 4-0-1 their last 5 road games, but they don't get off to a good start. It's the Coreys combining for Calgary. Millen out to Stillman, quick shot, beats Potvin, 1-0 Flames. Good goaltending at the other end, too, keeps the Leafs off the score sheet. Leafs on a 3-on-1, Sundin dropping for Todd Gill, and a great save there by Trevor Kidd, turns them away. Meanwhile, the Flames offense picking it up, 23 seconds into the second. Millen with a good burst of speed around Yushkevich, over here to Sheldon Kennedy for the goal, and Calgary's up 2-0 on Toronto at home. The Flames added more in the third, not that they needed it, but Theo Fleury with a great individual effort, spanks one in from the slot right there. The Flames cruise to an easy shutout on this night of Toronto 4-0. Trevor Kidd playing his 100th NHL game. Stopped 27 shots for his first shutout of the year. Corey Millen, Zarley Salapsky, a couple of assists each for Calgary in a rare home ice win. It's toughness and heart that captured the attention of the Toronto Maple Leafs and their fans immediately after he was selected first overall in the 1985 entry draft. Coming in as an 18-year-old, he was an instant favorite at Maple Leaf Gardens, patrolling left wing, punishing opponents for 9 seasons while wearing the blue and white. His physical presence and his rifle-like shot accounting for 208 goals over that span. And in 1991, Clark was named captain of the Maple Leafs. However, the Maple Leafs were looking for a young player with a good touch around the net, and at the 1994 draft, on the heels of a 46-goal season, Wendell Clark was shipped to Quebec in a blockbuster deal for Mats Sundin. Maple Leaf fans have loved Sundin, but they also loved Clark, and they hoped that one day the two could play together. And now, that wish has come true.
He's a very a big, exciting player that's an up-and-coming player, especially in Toronto, and going to do great things. So it's going to be exciting to be able to play with him rather than against him. It's going to be pretty exciting. It'll be the first time back playing, and I played once there in a visiting uniform, and I'll tell you, it's a lot more fun playing in a home uniform than it is in a visiting one, so it should be very exciting.
Joining Clark in Toronto is defenseman Matthew Schneider. The 26-year-old was the third leading scorer on the Isles this season with 47 points. He's a power play specialist. 7 of his 11 goals this year have come with the man advantage. The Leafs are looking for Schneider to continue that trend when he arrives in Toronto.
We're looking for Matthew to lead us behind the blue line, to be a real key in the power play because of his tremendous shot, and we're just elated about the deal.
Toronto Maple Leafs were not done there. Immediately following their game against the Jets, Cliff Fletcher made another move. It was strictly monetary, dealing Dave Andreychuk to the New Jersey Devils for a second-round pick in 1996 and a fourth-round pick in 98 or a third-round pick in 99. Over 14 seasons in the NHL, Andreychuk has scored 468 goals and is a 2-time 50-goal scorer. To the highlights. It didn't take long for the Leaf fans to get out the welcome wagon for Clark, even though Wendell hasn't even arrived in town yet. Keith Kachuk spoils the cheery mood early on. Look at the gorgeous move around Larry Murphy. He then beats Felix Potvin. Great goal. It's 1-0 Jets. Cliff Fletcher on the phone with the Devils, maybe, making a trade involving the slumping Dave Andreychuk. Perhaps the Checker trying to save his job, kicks the puck from his skate to his stick, then he puts it in. That ties the game at 1. A former Leaf puts the Jets back up. Mike Eastwood makes Murphy look bad again, blows by him, beats the Cat. Jets up 2-1. Andreychuk making a nice case to stay. Little backdoor feed to Doug Gilmore. Open net. It's 2-all. The Leafs then take the first lead. Again, it's Mr. Andreychuk. He'll use his skate from the skate to the stick. He'll sweep it around Nikolai Habibulin. 3-2 Toronto. Winnipeg comes back. Eastwood steals a point for the Jets in the third, deflects it high into the air. Doug Gilmore swats it into his own net. It ends in a 3-3 OT tie. That's your final from Maple Leaf Gardens. Andreychuk with 3 points. He now moves into 46 on the all-time list with 990 points. But the big news, everybody was talking about Toronto and their transaction.
Yes, indeed. Toronto is happy to have Wendell Clark back. Here's Clark to Gilmore to Clark. Can you believe that? Less than 6 minutes into his return, Cliff Fletcher is all smiles. 1-0 Toronto in the first. In the second, Lee shorthanded. Doug Gilmore, breakaway. Good stop by Andy Moog. Clark on the rebound, the backhand just wide. Things heating up in this one. I said it was an emotional affair. Ty Domi and Bill Hewart, I guess you can say they were a little emotional. Lots of scuffles after the whistles in this one. Still in the second. Moog continues to keep the Stars in it. Kurt Muller feeds out to Matthew Schneider, the other new Maple Leaf, but he is stoned by Moog. 1-0 Toronto still. Just over 5 minutes to play. Leafs on the power play. Dave Ellett lets one go. Wayne Presley gets a stick on it. 2-0 Toronto. They add an empty netter to make it 3-0 the final score. Felix Potvin stopped 26 shots for his second shutout of the season, and both of those shutouts have come against the Dallas Stars.
Alcock and Nick Kiprios ushering in St. Patrick's Day with a little bit of an Irish jig of sorts. Mike Gartner comes into this one with 29 goals. He has 15 30-goal seasons under his belt. Gartner on the 2-on-1 with the rushing Todd Gill, cuts to the net, and one-timer. Gartner hits the 30 mark again. It's 1-0 Toronto. Felix Potvin gets a little luck of the Irish. Martin Gélina with a shot, but it goes off of Potvin's mask. It's 1-0 after one. Then it's Kirk McLean's turn to get some luck. Matt Sundin cutting to the net, the deflection, and ping, right off the post. The Canucks can't hold off the Leafs' attack this time. The big rebound for Larry Murphy wires it to the top corner. His first goal in 35 games. It's 2-0 Leafs. Puck been standing on his head in this one. He dives across to stop Russ Courtnall. It's still 2-0. And the Leafs lead the league with 5 blown third-period leads. Can they hang on to this one? Russ Courtnall to Martin Jelena beats the Cat. It is now 2-1 Leafs. The Leafs come right back, though. Gilmore looking for Murphy in front. Broken up at Jurke Lume, gives it away. Gilmore slides it in front, and Murphy pots his second of the game for the Leafs to go ahead 3-1. McGillney cuts the lead to 3-2, but Toronto pulls it out at home. Dave Gagne's shot is stopped, and Gartner's there for the rebound. So 2 for Gartner, 2 for Murphy, as the Leafs double up on Vancouver by a final of 4-2, and with that, the Canucks suffer their 5th straight loss. Felix Potvin, a great day in net for the Leafs. 40 saves in all. A
couple of minutes into the game, Kirk Muller runs into Sergei Fedorov. The legs collide, and the Red Wings' leading scorer, who had 5 points against the Leafs on Tuesday night, had to be helped off. He has a bruised knee. We'll have more on him in a moment. Tied at 1. In the second, Wendell Clark will lose the puck. Vladimir Konstantinov. He's off on the breakaway. Nobody catches him. He beats Beaupre as he goes to the backhander. The Wings lead it by a count of 2-1. The Leafs come back in the third. They tied it up. Then Kelly Fairchild's pass is deflected in front by Ty Domi. Toronto ahead 3-2, but not for long. Dino Ciccarelli fires the puck into the corner. Jamie McCowan gives it right back to him. Ciccarelli bangs it home. It's 3-3. We go to overtime. In OT, Paul Coffey with the shot off Todd Gill's stick right to Darren McCarty. He puts in the overtime winner. The Wings pull it out by a count of 4-3 as they extend their franchise record to 8 straight wins over Toronto. Back to Sergei Fedorov. It's a bruised knee. It is not considered serious.
Well, the hockey world was talking last week about something that came as no surprise. That was Wayne Gretzky being traded. Tuesday, something was probably expected. They were talking about Pat Burns, fired as the head coach of the Maple Leafs in Toronto. He and the Leafs management denied it up and down when the news leaked out on Monday night, but by Tuesday morning, they had to admit that it was true. TSN's Susan Rogers has this report.
It was a very tough day for me yesterday, as it is today. In professional sports, things seem to change rapidly.
The Leafs had tried everything. Roster changes, trades, even bringing in a psychologist to help the players. In the end, though, the inevitable happened. They fired the coach.
I knew that something would have to happen. You can't keep on trading foot soldiers all the time, and sooner or later the general's got to go. And you know, it was a great run in Toronto. I mean, I enjoyed myself. There's a lot of great fans out there, and they deserve better than what they're getting right now.
Pat Burns being released was obviously the players' fault, and some are I've heard the comments already, and some are gonna disagree, but I think every player in that dressing room has to take fault for the way we've played.
Pat's been great to me. He showed a lot of confidence in me, and I mean, I just feel I feel kind of bad this morning. I mean, every player kind of let him down.
Now, the onus is on the players. We feel our team is much more competitive than we've shown in the last 2 months, and it's going to be up to everyone to get their act together and to move forward, to confirm a playoff position, and to cause havoc in the playoffs.
Nick Beverly, Burns' replacement until the end of the season, is an ex-player, longtime member of the Kings organization, and most recently the Leafs director of scouting. He aspired to be an NHL head coach 15 years ago.
I did have the dream a long time ago, and although this isn't the ideal way to get to it, it's a chance to live it, experience it, and at the same time help my organization, and that's what I want to do.
The Leafs made 2 other moves. Former Leaf player Mike Foligno will leave his job as assistant coach in St. John's to join Mike Kitchen and Rick Walmsley as Beverly's assistants. And special consultant Daryl Sittler will take a more active and accessible role with the team.
Cliff Fletcher will be working desperately to make some kind of trade before the deadline in a couple of weeks in the hope of making his new coach's job just a little bit easier. But in the meantime, with the Leafs in the precarious position of possibly missing the playoffs, each and every one of their remaining 17 games is critical, starting Wednesday against the Devils. Susan Rogers, TSN, Toronto.
All right, thank you, Susan. Let's take a look at Pat Burns' record. He's the 7th NHL coach fired this season. 133 wins, 107 losses, 41 ties as a Leaf coach. Also coached the Habs very successfully for 4 years. Made it to the Final Four with the Leafs a couple of years there. Out quickly in 9. Beverly in his debut as a coach, taking over from Pat Burns. New face behind the bench, but same old problem for the Leafs on the ice. Devils shorthanded. Richer 2-on-1. Loads it up and fires it past Potvin. 1-0 New Jersey. First period. Leafs scoring troubles continue. Gilmore and Andrechek actually alone in front, but Martin Brodeur will turn them both aside. And the Leafs brass looking on from upstairs. Did we make the right move, firing Burns? Second period, Devils up 1-0. Stéphane Richer will make it 2-0 with a rocket from the right side. And Brodeur continues to roll between the pipes for New Jersey. Wayne Presley of the Leafs in all alone, goes to the backhand, but Brodeur just calmly steers that aside. Now the league brass, Union side, management side, also watching the Leafs' fortunes. Later in the second, the Leafs finally do score. Doug Gilmore chipping one in after a scramble in front. So 2-1 Devils. Third period, Leafs continue to press. Gilmore from behind the net. The initial shot is wide, but Andrechek with the backhand upstairs makes it 2-2. Overtime decides nothing, but hey, Nick, you got a point. Your first game, and you get a point, and the Maple Leafs have to be reasonably happy with that. A 2-2 final. Devils stay unbeaten in 6. Leafs stay winless in 9. The Devils continue to have trouble at Maple Leaf Gardens. They haven't won there since 1989.
Devin now to the Oilers and the Leafs, and don't you think Curtis Joseph would love to squash the Leafs' playoff hopes? First period, Kucher tries to do just that under fire, standing on his head. Brandon Convery denies the Leafs on the power play, but the Leafs get to Joseph early in the second. Doug Gilmore from the corner throws the puck out front. The puck to Wendell Clark. Fires it past Joseph. It's 1-0 Toronto. Later on, the Leafs are up 2-0. Oilers cut the lead in half. Boris Mironov with a shot, hits beautifully in front by Jason Arnott, by Felix Potvin, and the Oilers trail by 1. Later on in the period, on the power play, Boris Mironov lets go of a howitzer from the point. No chance for Potvin on that one, and the game is all tied up at 2. But the Leafs respond. Sundin, Clark, and Gilmore in across the Edmonton line. Gilmore lets it go right past Cujo. It's 3-2 for the Buds. To the third period now, Todd Warner and Brandon Convery over the Oiler line. Convery moves in and then fires it past Cujo. 4-2. That was the game winner. And is that team pumped or what? They're playoff bound. The Leafs go on to win it by a final of 6-3. So yeah, the Leafs clinch a playoff spot. In fact, the Leafs are unbeaten in their last 6 versus Edmonton. And after the game, every last Toronto Maple Leaf was glad to get the job done on this night.